Hi, and welcome to our interview session. My name is Vanessa Gentile, and I am the Alliance and Channel Director at Salesforce Switzerland. With me today, our partner Accenture, represented by Richard Amann, Senior Manager Accenture Salesforce Business Group, and our Salesforce customer Emma Page, Senior Director B2B Sales, Steering and Transformation at Sunrise UPC. Sunrise UPC is one of the biggest telecommunications company in Switzerland. Before merging into one entity, both UPC and Sunrise independently deployed Salesforce within their B2B sales organization with the aim to simplify, streamline, and digitalize their end-to-end sales processes. Now, in the newly merged entity, Sunrise UPC, the team has just deployed a minimal viable product of a combined instance as a starting point for further consolidation. If you want to know more, then keep on watching. Hi Emma, hi Richard, thank you so much for being here today with me and talking with me about your project at Sunrise UPC. Let's start with the first question. What was the business objective for Sunrise UPC around Salesforce, Emma?
So, as you said in your intro, both Sunrise and UPC independently had chosen Salesforce for their B2B sales organizations. And the objective was very similar. So we wanted to simplify and streamline the existing processes and lay a foundation for optimization. Now, in the merged entity, the objectives are slightly different because now we have two Salesforce instances and we're basically focused on bringing the two together. So really having Salesforce as the backbone of the B2B organization. Because we're very customer-centric, we had a very ambitious target to bring the two Salesforce instances, or at least the customer data, together by the mid of this year. So within 3 months, we actually did a lot of work. We brought the core sales data into one and enabled our frontline to serve our customers best.
And how was the project for you?
Great experience. Post-merger is always something special. And I think we were able to leverage best of both organizations. Had multiple processes being challenged, newly set up, and were able then also technically combining both systems accordingly in order to make that happen, this very ambitious deadline. We first were all scratching our heads on how on earth can we make that happen, but ultimately it worked. And I think that was also supported by the platform itself, technically.
And why did you choose Salesforce? This is my key questions, right? So why did you choose Salesforce as your technology partner?
So as somebody who has used Salesforce in past jobs, I know that Salesforce is a proven platform. It's an industry leader. So it was a very preferred choice for us. We also believe that a lot of the out-of-the-box functionality for us can help simplify what we have done in our legacy systems. So really questioning old processes and simplifying them.
And what about you? Why do you think that Salesforce is the best choice for this implementation at Sunrise UPC?
In the current setup, I'd say the modularity is one of the key elements. So we started with sales processes only, moved into CPQ, where we leveraged those industry-specific processes available already in the solution, but now keep on broadening the view over to marketing, now moving in much more into service area, where of course then the interaction with the end consumers or end clients come onto stage as well. And I think this modular way of how we bring the departments together on this one platform, I think that is one of the key elements supporting us in reaching this target.
And I think that's a good point, as Richard pointed out. When we started the journey, we didn't know what was going to happen. And I think now, especially in this merged entity setup, it is really helping us that we're on the same platform. So migrating the functionality and the data, I mean, you correct me, but it's probably easier than it would have been if we would have had 20 different products in place and having to move them into one.
And obviously out of the platform of Salesforce, you have a lot of choices. right? Yeah. So also to grow, if additional departments comes in and additional functionality that you need. So this is really the value out of the platform that Salesforce are giving to the customers in general.
And that has actually happened. I mean, when we started out, as Richard said, the focus was around sales. And now, because we do a lot of campaigning for the platform, a lot of other teams have come up and said, oh, could we solve this with Salesforce as well? And this is what we're now trying to put on a roadmap and see how it can all come together.
That's great. That people start to think already in that way, right? And say, hey, I am interested in doing this and this and this. How can we do that with Salesforce?
What's also, I think, underrated so far, or not as visible at the moment, is all about DevOps. I mean, everyone talks about DevOps or DevSecOps, right? On how do you make that technically possible in such a short way. We invested quite a lot into that, leveraged the latest technology provided by Salesforce with the developer experience. And I think I'm not even myself was convinced, but it really paid off in the first release already, even if I didn't have this aspiration. And I think that now is kind of so baked into the overall way of working that it was also helping us now for this 1st of July.
And Emma, for you, what were the criteria of choosing the right partner in this project?
So after we chose Salesforce as a platform, we were clear that we didn't have the skills in-house. So we didn't have any developers, we didn't have any Salesforce admins. So it was clear we needed somebody to help skill up the team. But also we are a very ambitious organization. So we chose Salesforce, I think, in February last year on the Sunrise side. And the aim was to launch something in July. So we needed a partner. We needed somebody to guide us through the process who had done this before, who understands B2B, who understands the industry, who understands the platform. And that is where we chose Accenture, because for us, they were the most convincing in their pitch, and also now in the experience. I couldn't have asked for a better partner. I mean, if you think back, right, February last year was around about the time where we all were sent into home office with the pandemic. And Accenture is familiar with working remotely. I mean, we have a team that is distributed across, I think, about 3 countries, right? At least on the Accenture side. So switching into home office was not a big difference. We switched, I think we had the kickoff in person, and then the next meeting was a Teams call, and that's how we continued to the final testing in June last year, and it worked smoothly. Mm-hmm. And also having somebody who knows how digital transformation works, who knows how business transformation works, was super helpful, because we did take this as an opportunity to step back of our legacy of how we have done things in the past and question if this is the only way of doing it. And having an experienced partner who can, say, are you sure this is the only way to get to this aim, really helped. It has helped us simplify things. It has also helped the team be more agile, even though we're not quite there yet in the definition of Accenture, but I think we're better. But also how we run workshops, I think, has become more creative, more down the line of best practices, thanks to Accenture.
Yeah, that was really a challenge, right? So to move from one day to another completely remotely and stick to the timelines and also plans and goal of the customers. I mean, you start with the vision, but then you have to really break this out and put it in, into a paper, or even train the people and make it happen at the end.
I mean, for us, it was twofold. On one side, during pre-sales phase, before we then started the project, it was always clear, and one guiding principle, that Sunrise and now Sunrise UPC wants to run Salesforce at a certain point independently, wants to grow into this platform, want to learn how the thing's working. And that was a paradigm we took up from day one, try to supporting the enablement, getting to know the platform, running small enhancement releases on their own. On the other side, of course, that was the enablement, but then back then sent back home, I think it was again another proof on how far Accenture is in the digitalization process, in that sense which I'd say worked well. We kept the deadlines, and in the end, it was 500,000 people around the globe sent home in 2 weeks, and continued from there.
How big is the team the core team, let's say, that you are working on this project, including, of course, including Accenture?
So on the Sunrise UPC side, I have 7 people on my organization that are focused from a B2B transformation point of view.
From the business.
From the business side, yes. We have spokes out of the different departments, so one or two people, just to make sure that we get to understand, how they work or how they would like to work. Mm-hmm. And then we have 20, 30 people from you guys, right?
Oh, yes.
We have a really large team on the Accenture side supporting us because we have very ambitious timelines. So we need the development power, which Accenture is also able to deliver and scale up depending on what we want to do.
And in this way of finding the right way of working in an agile way, we started to separate and group into multiple Scrum teams, also following their, let's say, the recommendation out of the school books. However, of course, there are interlabs, there are multiple persons also on your side, Emma. We have the one or two which are everywhere, but still we try to focus on different process areas and then separate it in that. Spreading across multiple countries in Europe, but also India.
So mainly you build teams out of the teams, small groups, yes. So that you can cover the different approaches. Mm-hmm. Okay, cool. And can you already see a value out of this digitalization project?
Yeah, probably I'm the wrong person to ask because there's others who use it or hopefully use it more frequently. But joke aside, I think, yes, we do see a lot of value. At least it has helped us structure many of the processes differently and create a baseline for further optimization, which we didn't have before because we now have a platform that can connect to other systems, data can flow, etc. And we've also been able to really create a different foundation around data. So in my position, I don't only take care of transformation, but I'm also responsible for the whole sales steering. So understanding how the sales funnel looks, how the performance is of the organization. We now have a completely different basis for analysis and be more in-depth and understanding what is working, what is not working. And that has really helped thanks to Salesforce.
Mm-hmm. So are you collecting regular feedback from the business to adjust where needed?
Yeah, so we have regular sessions. We have spokes in every department that interact with us regularly. So they basically are the interlink between our team and the end users. So they come back and say, this isn't working, or if they have their own ideas, right? They will come back and say, we would like to do this and this. And then we take it up and put it on the backlog.
And what is, at the end, the recommendation that you can give to customers who wants to digitalize and also wants to choose the right partner? Of what should they consider further?
So I think one thing that I would say is be very clear on what you want to do. Salesforce can do everything, but I think
Thank you.
No, but without a joke, right? I think there's a lot of things you can do, but you need to be clear. We started with the sales process. We were clear. We wanted to be able to do the sales funnel differently. And now it's growing. So that is, and we're trying to be very systematic about it. So don't tackle too much. I think it's also key that the business owns this. So, we know how we want to work. So we should be the ones driving the requirements. We had a lot of open and honest discussions with IT. So the legacy didn't work for B2B. So they understood that and bought into this whole transformation that we're going through. So I think IT needs to be a sparring partner in the same boat. And then obviously you need the right partner. And I think we were very lucky that we had a very experienced partner at our side, guiding us through this process, being able to deliver on the very ambitious timeline. But at the same time, I think it's also a people business, right? So we were lucky to have people who, clicked with us, understood us very quickly, know how it works in the school book, but then is able to adapt it to the situation and, We had ambitious timelines, we had COVID, we had a merger, and Accenture just went through this, and it feels like a natural part or extension to our team.
That's great, right?
The reason for that, why that works out actually, is again, we had it before, it's about people. Right. We have a large team on the ground, on both sides in that sense, but both sides is the wrong word. We grew together, and it doesn't really matter from which company you are. We also had discussion with, let's say, people surrounding the project. They not even knew from which company I was, right? And this is, I think, one of the success factors why it works out that well. And how did we come to that point is because we have broken down those silos. We respect the individual, but not, let's say, the departments they belong to, because if we need somebody from IT talking about integrations and someone from the business who need to use it, then in the end, all together in one workshop, and then it works. And I think this was kind of the difference. What was supported by Emma in order to enable that, because usually those can be quite tense moments, but that I think is one of the key differentiator why we were able to go so fast.
Yeah, and I really echo that. I think we did grow together as one team. So it was never Accenture, you have to deliver, or, Sunrise, UPC, you have to bring this. It was clear, okay, we need to do this. Then we have a project plan, we agree on the deliverables, and then we do it. And
it's a team.
And
right?
It's not a finger pointing. I think we all want this to be successful, and we just do it.
And with that, I also got some additional flexibility or freedom, so to say, to move, to say, okay, let's shift the focus a bit, regardless of what's written in the contract, where I was able to bring in colleagues from consulting, from strategy, interactive, in order to do some spot consulting, say, hey, look, we did it like that in this context. And I think this freedom to move, again, the agility, I think that was so far and still will be quite nice element of the project.
And so thank you for that. And I think this is a great closing now to say people is the greatest platform for change. And in that case, thank you so much for being my guest today. Thank you, Emma. Thank you for taking the time to talk to me. And I wish you the best luck with Salesforce and Accenture. And for you, if you are interested in knowing more about your project, your future project, then please talk to Accenture. They will be super happy to support you in your digitalization. Thank you and goodbye.